20 years ago, my mother's greed cost us the only home I ever loved, leaving me with nothing but bitter memories. Today, I finally bought it back with my own money. But the best part isn't the keys in my hand. It's the legal eviction notice I just served to the woman who destroyed my childhood. This house, this beautiful Victorian, was supposed to be our sanctuary. I remember its high ceilings, the way sunlight streamed through the tall windows, the intricate woodwork along the staircase. She used it to control us, to manipulate us, to remind us that everything we had was hers to give, and more often, to take away. The hallways that should have echoed with laughter were filled with the silence of walking on eggshells. Every room held a ghost of a different argument, a different psychological game. Over the years, I watched as her neglect seeped into the very walls. The paint peeled, the garden withered, and the whole house seemed to sigh under the weight of her toxicity. It mirrored what she was doing to our family, letting it decay from the inside out. Eventually, her financial recklessness caught up to her. Foreclosure notices started appearing, each one a fresh wave of anxiety. Losing that house wasn't just losing a property. It was losing the last shred of stability, the final confirmation that her needs would always come before ours. For 2 decades, I carried that loss with me. I built a new life, brick by brick, far away from her influence. But the ghost of that Victorian house always lingered. Everyone told me to let it go, to move on. The world of finance in 2026 is a maze, but I was determined. I learned that she hadn't lost the house to a bank. She'd leveraged it with private creditors, shadowy figures who operate outside the usual systems. She was renting it back, living in the ruins of our family, still trapped in her own cycle of chaos. Finding those creditors was like hunting for a needle in a haystack, but my motivation was ironclad. I hired specialists, tracked digital footprints, and pieced together the puzzle of her debts. And then the opportunity came. The deed was going to a private auction. This was my one shot. My heart was pounding the entire time. I was bidding against faceless investors who saw it as just another asset on a spreadsheet. But for me, this was everything. This was the final battle in a war I didn't even know I was fighting as a child. I set my limit, a number that represented years of hard work, sacrifice, and sleepless nights. The bidding climbed, higher and higher. My finger hovered over the button. I took a deep breath, thought of the little kid who lost everything, and I clicked. A few agonizing minutes later, a notification popped up. The deed was mine. In that moment, the power dynamic of my entire life shifted. I was no longer the powerless child. I was the owner. I was the landlord. The first thing I did was call a lawyer. I explained the situation, the history, the decades of psychological warfare. I didn't want a simple eviction. I wanted an ironclad legal document that left no room for manipulation, no loopholes for her to exploit. We drafted a notice that was professional, cold, and final. It was a legal instrument, but for me, it was a declaration of independence. A few days later, I drove to the house. Seeing it again was surreal. It looked smaller, sadder. The neglect was even worse up close. I took a walk around the property, not as a visitor haunted by memories, but as the owner, assessing the damage. This was my final walkthrough as a victim. I could feel the weight of the past trying to pull me back in, but the keys in my pocket felt heavy, real. They were my anchor to the present. Then came the moment I had rehearsed in my mind 1,000 times. I walked up to the front door, the same door I had been kicked out of 20 years ago, and I knocked. She opened it, and for a second, there was just confusion on her face. She asked what I wanted. I didn't say a word. I just handed her the envelope. I watched her tear it open, her eyes scanning the legal jargon. I saw the exact moment she understood. The color drained from her face. The arrogance, the control, it all just crumbled. She looked up at me, and for the first time in my life, I saw her with no power. She had no idea her new landlord was me. And as she stood there, speechless, I just calmly said, "You have 30 days. Then I turned around and walked away without looking back. The next few weeks were a flurry of activity. I wasn't just evicting her. I was performing an exorcism on the house itself. The day she finally left, I walked through the empty rooms. The silence was different this time. It wasn't heavy or oppressive. It was peaceful. It was a blank canvas. I documented everything. We tore out the stained carpets, scraped away the peeling paint, and let fresh air and sunlight into rooms that had been dark for years. Every act of renovation felt like healing a wound. Stripping away the old wallpaper was like shedding a layer of bad memories. Of course, there was a final confrontation. She showed up one day, demanding, pleading, and then threatening. But it was different this time. I wasn't her child anymore. I was the property owner, and she was a trespasser. When she realized her old tactics had no effect, that the locks had been changed and a modern security system was in place, she finally left. The boundary was secure, permanently. Restoring this house and my peace came at a cost. A heavy one, both financially and emotionally. It forced me to confront the deepest wounds of my childhood. But as I stand here now, in this clean, bright, quiet space, I know it was worth it. I'm redefining what home means. It's not a battlefield. It's not a weapon. It's a place of safety, of peace, of my own making. This wasn't about revenge. It was about restoration. It was about taking back the narrative and closing a chapter that had been left painfully open for far too long. If you're trapped in a cycle of toxicity, know that you have the power to break it. It might not look like buying a house, but it starts with reclaiming your own life, setting your own boundaries, and deciding that you deserve peace. You are the owner of your own future. Thank you for watching my story. If this resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more on this journey of reclamation.